Ladies and gentlemen, the charity fund took it out of us. The preseason content took it out of us. Real life took it out of us. But we're back. You didn't think you could get rid of us that easily, did you? It's another episode of Here's Why You're Wrong. We're glad to be back. We're happy to be back. I think we're happy to be back. Who knows if we actually are or not.
We're feelings.
We're in our feelings, as some may say. You know what? We're here and we're ready to go. It's going to be fun no matter what. We're the people you know and love. Once again, I'm Aiden, the Braves GM, joined by Brenden, the O's GM, better known as the Bash Birds. I'm trying to get that to stick for you. I'm working.
Bash Birds is sticking, and I'll tell you why it's sticking. The Orioles are red hot, and we are hitting dingers.
My name's Big Al, and I hit dingers.
Yeah, I need to get Big Al.
Yeah, you should just give the nickname to Nate Lowe Big Al at the rate he's hitting these homers.
I think we should. We should christen him now.
You know what? We'll talk about the O's a little bit later. But, Brenden, you recently released your power rankings, your 30-team power rankings.
I did, and you know what? Did a preseason edition. In that preseason edition, I said that I was going to be releasing updated full 30-team power rankings every week. So every 2 weeks of action. Now, the first week of the season was game by game by game. So after just 1 week of action, I didn't feel like it had been enough time to make a set of power rankings. So I waited until this Sunday. So we have the 1.0 first power rankings of the season so far. And it's a doozy.
All right, let's take a look at them. I'll read through teams, and if we find a team we want to stop at and discuss and debate, we will. Let's start with Oakland at the bottom. Oakland gonna Oakland.
I don't see any reason to move them from that spot. They were 30 going into the year. They have the worst record in the league. I don't see any reason to move them.
You know what? I want to have a debate. I want to start the debating early.
Oh, boy.
Toronto sucks worse than Oakland. Why did you put Toronto at 29 and Oakland at 30? Is it because Oakland doesn't have a GM?
It's because they're both bad, and so I just kept them where they were going into the year.
Then never mind. I have zero argument for you.
I mean, really, what's the difference between the 30 spot and the 29 spot?
Pride.
That's fair. Who had and really, when you want to look at this right now, who has more reason for pride? Is it the Toronto team that has faced good competition, or is it the Oakland team who's getting their ass beat by the AOS? I mean, sure.
Did you just say the AOS is bad competition?
No, they're getting their ass beat. I'm saying that they've getting their ass beat by higher competition than Toronto is, but Toronto has played 2 less games. I kind of think it's going to even itself out, so why change it?
Can we get a petition to not make Oakland the bottom team in your power rankings?
Tell you what, if they start winning games, they won't be.
That's fair. Oakland GM, whoever it is, whoever wants to take over Oakland, the team's available.
I don't know who would want to take over Oakland.
I don't know.
This is the first time since I've joined this league where there's been a team opening, and I have looked at it and said, no.
Yeah. Let's talk about one of the bigger droppers. The gentleman who got swept to open the season by yours truly, the New York Metropolitans, falling 8 spots.
You know, the Mets are the same team that they were last year, except now they're not winning games. Now it's early. Everything about these power rankings comes with the caveat it's early. But the Mets pitching is fine. They can't score for shit. And they're getting hammered. 6-13, third worst record in the league. I think that puts you at third worst in the power rankings.
That's fair. Some of these teams we're just going to mention, and then after we go through all the teams and Brenden gives his explanation, we'll pick out a few different things to debate about his power rankings. Marlins at 27, Rockies at 26.
Both dropping 2 from their previous spot.
No real shock there. Milwaukee at 25, dropping 6. interesting little drop off. I mean, they play in a really tough division, and a team we'll talk about in a little bit. The Pirates sort of coming out of, I won't say nowhere, but not what we expected.
Exceeding expectations.
Yeah. But again, with the same caveat you've been giving, it's early.
The pitching staff's been getting rocked in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And the lineup isn't really compensating enough. I don't think that they're playing like a very good team right now, and the record shows it, and the spot in the power ranking shows it.
Let's talk about your
first. Tired over there?
Yeah.
You need to up the energy levels, man. I should never be bringing more energy than you are.
Did you just work 4 straight 12-hour days?
No, I actually had my first full weekend off in like a month.
Yeah, so for any of you guys who didn't know, I filled in as the Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting for a minor league baseball team for the past 4 days, and I'm feeling it that much. But you know what? I'm here. I'm bringing the energy. I apologize for the yawn. Let's talk about your first riser in the power rankings, the Chicago White Sox going up to. They added a bat.
Yeah,
Jay Hedges coming out of nowhere, stealing a bat from a division rival.
I think that that's huge, and it is not. That's a move that's not reflected in their spot in the power rankings. They were going to be 24 based on what they've done to this point. I think Ian Happ is a huge, huge, huge gain for this team.
Will it be big enough to help them propel them to what is now turning into sort of a 4-horse race in the AL Central? Sorry, Sadier.
Honestly, I think the AL Central could be a 5-team race. It's going to be a race to the bottom, but it's a 5-team race.
It's a 5-team race. Which team is going to...
Hey, hashtag most competitive division trademark.
Hashtagging it here. Arizona Diamondbacks, another 8th-place dropper.
You know, there's a reason I put them at number 15. I put them in the middle in my opening day power rankings because I felt like they could go up or they could go down. And out the gate, they are going down. Diamondbacks offense is putrid. They have 2 hitters who are performing at above league average, and both of them are their platoon first base. It's their platoon first base combo, Spencer Torkelson and Joey Gallo. Those are the only 2 hitters on this team who are above league average. That is bad.
Yeah. That's just straight up putrid. Like, I love your description word of choice. Now, let's have a conversation here. If you're Aaron, what move do you make to try and help yourself?
I think at a certain point in time, you need to start looking outside the organization.
Does Aaron? Does she finally pick up the phone?
I think you have to. Or hope and pray something good happens. And I don't think that hoping and praying is going to get you anywhere. They don't have any serious offensive prospects coming up of note. They have a couple quality guys sprinkled throughout the system. Nobody who you expect to plug into the lineup and go, you're going to fix what's going on here. If Aaron wants to save the season and save the offense, some people need to get better, which can still happen. It's still early. Or she needs to make a move. I think she's probably going to wait and see. And once we get about a quarter of the way through, she'll assess.
That's fair. That's a fair assessment, I think. I have nothing to disagree with you on yet. Stuff is coming, though. I did look ahead, and there was stuff coming. So, all right, let's move on. Cleveland up 5, Minnesota down 3. I think both of those two were sort of, again, the AL Central is going to AL Central.
I think the Indians are playing better than expectations, and the Twins are not necessarily worse than expectations. It's just that other teams moved ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like the Twins, like there's a handful of teams on this rankings that went down not because they were worse, but because they stayed the same and other teams got better.
Yeah, that's fair. I want to talk about this 2019-18 spot here because this is probably one of the more interesting points in your power rankings. Boston at 20, down 9. New York at 19, up 9. Detroit at 18, down 11.
So the opening day power rankings are a rough guesstimation of where teams should be going into the season. The purpose of the 1.0 edition of the power rankings is now that we've seen how these teams are playing, how do I feel? Going bottom up, Boston's pitching is as bad as we thought it was going to be, if not worse. They went into the season, I think, banking on their records, their lineup from last year continuing their career year pace. Every guy in that lineup seems like they had a career year. They were banking on that happening again, and I said it going into the year. I don't think that that's possible, and I don't think that's a sustainable strategy for success. Stumbling out the gate with a pitching staff that bad is going to throw you down out of contention in my mind. Yankees are 11-7 to start the year. Is it a fluky 11-7? Is this a real deal? Are the Yankees good now? Yes, no, and no. Yes, it's a fluke. No, they're not the real deal. No, they're not good now. But they're playing well to start the year, and so they deserve to move up into a bubble team. And then lastly, the Tigers. The Tigers are just continuing their implosion from last year, it looks like. I mean,
I hate to be this guy, but like I look at, obviously we can't give a lot into ratings because ratings are just ratings, but a lot of these guys are playing up to the rankings they should be playing at
for Boston
on the Yankees.
You know what? Yes, if this were a normal league. It's still a league with inflated ratings.
Fair.
A 58 overall in this league is not the same thing as a 58 overall in most leagues.
So now, talk to me about, of these three teams, which team is the most likely to be a seller at the deadline?
Ooh, most likely to be a seller? Boston, I'd say. Boston would likely move an offensive piece or two to add in to seriously revamp the pitching staff. Because the pitching staff is a problem, and it's going to be a problem for them in the future moving forward. I think what they intended to do going into the season, try to move one of their big offensive pieces to bring in a pitching haul. I think that makes all the sense in the world. You have a world beater on offense. You have several world beaters. Make your pitching staff better.
Well, I think that's a logical explanation. I think you're just wrong. I think if I look at any of these teams that's going to sell, it's going to be the New York Yankees. They
so
have
many of these guys are young and cost controlled. Develop.
But why not sell some of these higher end guys who are a little bit older, who right now are going to have the highest return they're ever going to have?
Why not continue to build around a team that's young and cost controlled?
Because no offense, they're not going to come anywhere close to touching the new look Toronto Blue Jays, the Baltimore Orioles, or the Tampa Bay Rays. The Yankees need to do something drastic and basically give themselves.
They have a bunch of top prospects coming up to the farm. It's almost like you're saying this without actually looking at the team's organization and looking at the amount of years of control they have over these.
I look at that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I looked at that stuff. But what I see here in New York is
I think you're only bringing this team up just to be just to have a point of contention.
Is that wrong of me to do on a show that's all about contention? And the fact of the matter is that I think also I look at the GMs too. I look at the two GMs we have, and no offense to either of them, both of them are great guys, but which one is going to be more likely to make a move and respond to a DM?
Probably Billy.
I disagree. I think it's Pete. I've had more talks with Pete than I have with Billy, and both of them I've tried to strike deals with.
Who's made more deals over the last 2 years? Billy's been involved in at least 3 trades. I honestly can't say I've seen Pete in a trade.
2.
2?
2 that I know of.
So still the edges to Billy.
I still think Pete is more likely to make a move than Billy. I think Billy is too much of a Boston.
Mark in this conversation.
Yeah, because I think Mark still he's going to have a chance to win the Central, and he's going to add at the deadline.
That's true.
And Mark will never be a seller, no matter what he says.
No. He might. I mean, don't get me wrong. He might try to ship off a 29-year-old AAA for an ace on another squad and say it's a fair deal.
Yeah, but you know what, Mark? We see through you. We see through your stone wall here. All right, let's go ahead and move on here. 17. You put my Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
And you know what? Hold on. Before you even explain it here, I would like to say something. You will hear zero argument from me on the rating of my team. So You have the floor.
I did say there were several teams that are not doing worse than what we could have expected. They just got passed up. The Braves are one of them. They're not worse, just other teams are better.
Johnny Burnitz, I hope you have a fire lit underneath your hindquarters with this suspension.
For fighting. I love it. I love when rookies get suspended for fighting.
I hope it lights a fire underneath his butt because because you look at him and he was probably my favorite guy who I was expecting to come out outside of myself, right? You know, you got to love yourself. Burnitz, 200 hitters so far through his first 15 games. Mind you, it's 15 games. However, he's striking out a little more than I'd like to see. He's got 17 strikeouts to 8 walks, which is not terrible. However, he's yet to steal a base. He's not a base stealer, but defensively, he's looked really solid too.
Yeah, I'll take that 705 OPS and go, wow, he's a rookie who's doing pretty well for his first 15 games of the big leagues. I mean, not a lot of rookies are going to come out of the gate on fire. Most of them don't. So what you expect to see is about league average play and watch him develop, which is what you're getting from Burnitz.
Hey, mind you, so I'm just looking through this here to make sure I have an accurate quote here. I believe it is 5. He has reached safely in 6 straight games.
Good for him.
So, coming off a 6 straight game on base streak, I'll take that for Burnitz. He's really starting to look up after starting the season hitting 089.
It's a good start for the rookie. We'll see how the rest of the season progresses for him.
But the best rookie start in the National League belongs to
Pearson so far.
Pearson's having
because I don't have anybody else off the top of my head who I can give it to.
That's the biggest thing. I mean, he's hitting 328 with a 943 OPS and 146 OPS plus a 400 BABIP. He's already got 4 homers, 8 RBIs. I'll take it.
Yeah, through a tiny sample size, that's looking pretty good.
Hey, you know what? A small sample size is a sample size, no matter how you shake it.
Hey, it's not about how big the sample size is, it's what you do with it, right?
Exactly. Hey, just ask Costco.
All right, that was pretty good.
All right, that was a good one. All right, Kansas Royals up 6, another AL Central, just sort of,
and not just another AL Central, the highest ranked AL Central on this list. Every single member of that division is in the bottom half, as it really should be.
And you know what? I don't even think we have to really talk about why.
Let's move on.
All right, Cincinnati Reds up 1. Not a big shock there. Right exactly sort of where we expected it. However, shout out to Trey Griffey. Shout out to Trey Griffey for
a cycle.
With a cycle. But
the Reds offense is killer. Their pitching is getting killed.
The Philadelphia Phillies up 9, leading the NL East.
Yes, they're not the highest ranked NL East team on here, but they started the year in my bottom third. And so climbing towards the top of the teams in the playoff bubble is a good jump for them, and we'll see if they continue to climb up.
I'm of the belief that they are, like you said, I think it's sample size, and I think they're similar to the Yankees in they're playing well above expectations for what this team should be playing as.
And you know what? And similar vein to them being similar to the Yankees, they had an identical jump up the rankings, 9 spots.
Identical to the T, to a T. All right. Here is my favorite part of your power rankings.
Do you want to read it or can I?
Would you like me to, or would you like to?
Go right ahead.
Would you like me to read it? In my best Brenden impression, which is not really much of an impression because you and I sound relatively similar. Honestly, I won't spend much time here. The Cardinals are going to make me walk back everything I said going into the season if this doesn't get any better in a hurry. They dropped furthest of any team, and for good reason. Disgusting.
Why did you make me nasally?
I don't know. I just wanted to differentiate the voices a little bit.
All right. They are disgusting to start the season. Let's move on before I say anything worse. They dropped 12 spots. They're the biggest faller on this list. Let's go.
No. I need more analysis here.
Jeremy Frank's getting clobbered.
And who was
And no
right?
one can hit outside of Royce Lewis, apparently.
And who was right?
Everybody else.
But who was correct?
Not me.
Who was correct? Don't make me go back to the PowerPoint.
Braves GM.
All right, Pittsburgh
Well, you
Pirates.
taking your best Minerva laugh impression?
Yes, exactly. Pittsburgh Pirates up 9. You know, they had a rough start to last season, but probably where they should have been.
Yeah, they because of last year, they ended up in the bottom third. What I wrote about this team is true for how I feel about them. They need to they're having a really good start, and they deserve to make the jump that they made. But they do need to show us: are they the team that started 9-0, or are they the team that's gone 2-7 since then?
It could be a tale of like that most of the season. Texas Rangers. Talk about a rough start. This is the spot where I'd like to give, as much as it pains me to do this, shout out Sadier.
I know, right?
Sadier, I love you. Don't get me wrong, but your team should not have done what you did to Texas.
I mean, it's over a 2-game series.
Still should not
Or
have
3-game series. They won 2 games.
Still should not have done that, in my opinion.
Especially Anyone can win any game. That's how baseball works. The way I look at it is the Rangers are scuffling a bit out the gate, but it drops them out of the top 10, but dropping to that like first team out spot is a really good place for them because they're already starting to show signs that they're recovering. They were 4-8, now they're 9-10.
Let's talk about the top 10. Coming in first is the San Diego Padres at number 10.
Yep, the 10-10 to start the year. They get a 2-spot drop.
Washington Nationals at 9. And I have a bone to pick with you. Why are the Nationals at 9, and why did they not drop out of the top 10? Because if you ask me, and even though I didn't put out of the power rankings, I believe the Pirates should be in the top 10, and I believe that the Phillies should be above the Nationals as it currently stands.
Because it's based on 3 things: the standings going into the year, the play of the team, the record of the team so far, and what has happened to those teams since then. The Nationals lost Jose Anthony for most of the start of the season, and the rest of the roster is still playing well. They're 9-9. I don't really feel like a team that I had going in 6 to start the year deserves to drop out of the top 10 based on what's happened to them. They're 9-9. They're 500. They've lost one of their offensive superstars for most of the start of the season. They deserve to drop to the bottom, but I don't really think any other team has shown that they deserve to be put ahead of them right now.
No offense, Atlanta and Washington have basically played the exact same to start the season.
Atlanta was 13 going into the year, and they suffered a very similar drop.
Right, but why is Atlanta at 17 and why is Washington at 9 when literally
because
they're
Atlanta
the same
is
exact
not
team
Washington
right now? They're the same exact team right now.
No, they're absolutely not. Atlanta is not Washington. There's a reason Washington started at 6 and Atlanta started at 13. Because your team did not win the World Series. Your team does not have a lineup from top to bottom superstars. Your team has a better bullpen.
My team does have better bullpen, including some moves that are coming soon that you guys will see in the latest.
Yeah, and I will end that there. You both had similar drops due to your start because teams moving ahead of you, but I do not think that there's a good reason at all in the world to drop the Nationals any lower.
That's fair. I just like causing shit. Tampa Bay Rays at 8. Why did you not drop them further? Because I feel like this is a team that definitely could have dropped further because of finishing 3rd in the division last year.
Because going into the season, I felt like they were poised to. They are the most talented team in the division. And frankly, they were the second best team in the division last year. They were just more unlucky than the Red Sox. They went into the season with a very good outlook, and a sluggish 10-10 start puts them down the rankings. But are you going to put the Rangers ahead of them after their start? Are you going to allow the Pirates to climb not just 9, but 13 spots to get to where they are. I mean, for a first power rankings based on a first impressions, I feel like dropping 4 spots to the 8th spot is good. It's reasonable.
No, I'm going to call this next portion the 3, 6, 9 portion of your power rankings. Dodgers up 3, Mariners up 6, Giants up 9.
I didn't notice that, but that's funny. Yep. Dodgers were the 10 going into the year, playing really well. And really they're one of those teams. There's some examples of teams that dropped due to other teams getting better. They're a team that rose because other teams got worse. The Mariners were a bubble team. They're playing like it. They're playing like a postseason team now. Still early. They've played 20 games. They've played only, an 1/8 of their schedule, but I like what I see. And then the Giants. The Giants are playing exceptionally well. They have catapulted their way into the top 10 and should stay there.
All right. Angels down 1 at 4. Less of a because the Angels suck, more because the other 3 teams are really good.
Yes.
Fair.
Two teams deserved to be in the top 3 ahead of them, so the Angels get to drop a spot. That's not an insult. Being 4 in the first edition of the power rankings, is still.
I think the Giants would like a word.
No, well, we'll see how things are after 2 weeks of in-game action.
The Bash Birds who continue to bash, and I hate to give you credit, but I have to give you credit where credit is due. But don't you think you're being a little too generous on yourself, putting yourself 3?
I mean, am I? Going into the season 9th, we have the best winning percentage in the league through 17 games. We still have an elite performing pitching staff. We have an offense who's in the top third of the league, the American League, in all major offensive categories. I don't really see a reason to bump myself out of this spot. I feel like, based off of where we started in the rankings, based off of our record to this point, this is fair.
I can agree with that. Let's talk about your biggest riser in the power ranking.
And by biggest riser, leaps and bounds, biggest riser.
15 spots, Houston Astros. No offense. I think I was higher on the Astros in our initial power rankings. They're a good team, man.
Yeah, they're really good to start the year. Obviously, this is a very long season, and we'll see how things develop. But the Astros are on a mission to prove everybody wrong.
Fair.
They are.
And number one, the person who had them in the number 1 slot to begin the season. I still reign supreme. I am the best. I'm the best there is. Plain and simple. I was right. You were wrong. You can. Go ahead.
I can.
I just don't feel like getting charbuddied again. So,
we'll just make you wear a pink bunny costume.
So what? I'll grab it. Don't make me grab it. I have one. I will grab it one episode. I will grab it an episode.
I think you'll be allowed to say whatever you want to say during that episode.
Oh, I think so. Why are the Cubs the best team in eMLB right now, according to your power rankings?
Oh boy. How do I phrase this? Smith, Roberts, Herbeck, White.
And who was singing the praises of this team, and who told you about this when you were?
I had them at 2.
But who had them at 1?
Not like I was down
who had them at
on
1?
The Cubs.
But who was saying that they're going to finish below the Cardinals in the division?
All right, so what? You have one thing where you can be happy about in this whole list, and you're just going to cling on to that?
Look, I am going to enjoy my time at the top right now.
Okay, it's not your time at the top. It's somebody else's time at the top that you're trying to ride the coattails on.
Look, was I right?
You were absolutely right. They're the number 1 team in the league.
And that's what matters.
I felt like going into the season, the Cardinals had momentum. They have squandered it.
They didn't have anything.
They absolutely did. They were aggressive going into the year. They just fell flat on their ass. And who knows who knows if anything could have been different had a GOTN had gone, differently.
We're not going to talk about that.
The intentional, the unintentional intentional walk.
The unintentional intentional walk.
All right. Four instead of one. The four instead of one.
Yeah. I think it's time for everyone's favorite segment.
What's that? The segment where you leave?
Oh, wow. It's time for the hot seat.
I don't have questions prepared, so this will be interesting.
No, this is going to be fun. I have something that I've pulled out of my booty hole. Ready?
Yeah. I do want to say, I think someone really should clip my reactions to some of the things you say. Because
I can make some really good memes.
Comedic.
Yeah, it can make some good memes. Our next Andrew meme. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Out of all the teams in eMLB, who's going to be the biggest riser in your next power ranking?
In the next power ranking, ooh. Reds. Catapult their way into the top 10.
Who's going to be your biggest loot? Who's going to be your biggest faller in the power rankings?
Biggest faller? Phillies.
Okay. So far, we have seen the Orioles smash a lot of homers. When all is said and done, how many homers did the Orioles finish with as a collective?
You have to give me a second on that. I don't have a good framework. 280.
Okay. All right. Switch it up.
That's just my current total times 8.
I like it.
All right. The Braves have started 9-9.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for the team?
Pitching reinforcements.
Pitching reinforcements. All right. Soroka coming back?
He is being sent on a rehab assignment as we speak.
Okay.
There's other things in the woodwork, in the weeds that are just.
Do you think the bullpen will finally bring Washington down, or will they continue to survive it?
As much as I'd love to say they're going to continue to survive it, I feel like we've been saying that it's going to be their downfall. But unless Pirate makes a move, I think Victor Robles saved the bullpen a lot. And I think now without Victor Robles officially now, the bullpen is going to start to show some holes because you can only be so good for so long.
Yeah. Over under fights this year. How many is Johnny Burnett's going to get into? Setting the line, 2.5.
I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over.
Hell yeah.
Johnny Burnett is my enforcer. Johnny Burnett is the guy who will stand up for
fights.
Oh, I wish they would too. Hold on. I wanna look at something real quick here on Johnny Burnett, okay? Johnny Burnett, he is all of hold on, I want to get his exact. Where do I find it?
Probably in your roster.
No, I found him. He is all of 6 foot 200 pounds. So he's not a tiny guy, but he's not the biggest guy on my team. That man is a fighter. That man is going to be my enforcer. And you know what? Anytime the league calls and say, hey, Johnny, you got a fine, guess what? I will take it out of my pocket. Here you are, Mr. Burnett. Have a good day. Because you know what? We like that energy here in Atlanta.
All right, I'm down with it.
Honestly, I think this could be fun. I'll ask you another question just because I just thought of it. Who gets the longest suspension this year due to a fight? Which team? And how many games?
I'm going to go ahead and say the Pirates, and it'll be 5. They're going to intentionally.
We already had an 8-game suspension.
Wait, really?
Jordan Hicks got an 8-game suspension in Cincinnati.
I did not know that. I didn't know Out of the Park could generate suspensions that long. All right, Pittsburgh 9.
I'm going to take Arizona 10.
I figure Pittsburgh's a really safe bet because they'll have somebody suspended for intentionally hitting somebody at some point.
I figured Arizona and Pittsburgh will play a game of the night, and one of the two will.
Oh, hell yes. Hell yes.
We need version 3.0.
We do.
We do. All right. And the last question for you. who do you think, and this is something that I sort of want to actually make into a discussion point here. I know it's early, but we've seen some minor trades go down. But when do you think the first domino is going to fall? Because I feel like around this time last season is when we saw the first, minor, but like minor trades that had an impact. I think right around now is when I made the trade for Taylor Walls to bring into Atlanta, who had a very good season in Atlanta. When do you think we start to see that sort of first mid-major, like your mid-major conferences like college basketball trades happen?
So referencing the Walls deal, the Walls deal was made at the beginning of June.
Yeah.
And so that's a month and a half away in game, and that's when I think moves will start to happen. Once you get about 2 months into the year, we'll see teams start to realize where they are, and we'll see teams start to react and respond accordingly.
Who do you think is going to be trade happy this year?
Well, I had my time in the sun, making some big splashes my rookie year. You've had your time. Let's go Brian. He's active in the chat.
Take a Brian.
Yeah, he's active in the chat. I think that he is a guy who's going to look to make some upgrades to his team and hope it'll be good.
Who does Brian have? Is he GT?
I thought that was Phillies.
No, that's Hebrew.
Hebrew, but isn't that his first name?
Might be. I forget his first name.
All right, well, now we need to go refer to the directory because if I'm wrong, we're going to have to cut this segment.
No, you may be right.
Oh, he has an upgrade. It's still Witt in the GT in the directory.
So Phillies. We're saying Phillies though.
Phillies, yeah.
I'm gonna say Minnesota. Just the other new guy.
Fair pick. Fair pick.
Okay, let's put it this way. Of the veterans of the league, so the non-rookies, who makes the most moves?
Who makes the most moves?
And I think my answer is going to shock you.
Cody.
Interesting.
Who's your guy?
I'm going to go with Mike out in San Francisco, who tries to keep the Dodgers and the Padres.
Okay.
Imagine another pitcher to pair up with Jandy.
Yeah. And Ethan Candela. Not Ethan Candela, Cam Candela.
A three-headed monster.
No, Ethan's the pitcher. Ethan's the pitcher. Cam's the catcher.
The three-headed monster. Yikes.
It's a scary thought.
San Francisco has the ability to do that. It's going to be difficult to
find. It's going to be interesting to see if they can find that third option.
I think they can. I think there's enough options out there, especially with teams that may be faltering.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great episode back. We'll get more into the bickering when we're not just talking about power rankings, and I haven't been up for long amounts of hours. And I think the next episode is going to be a lot of fun because I'm already starting to think of some ideas, but we'll get to them when the episode comes. Make sure to tune into that. eMLB Insider whenever that returns. Joe's on the Pros is about to record their first episode. Kamish is always live. Yeah, we won't talk about the first unofficial episode. And you know what? This has been fun. It's nice to be back in this setting.
You know what it is?
I missed it. Brenden and I were both busy. I think we were also just burnt out with the amount of content we put out in that last week.
Yeah.
Right before the season started. I was too, dude. And you know what? Real life baseball season for me is coming to an end, which means my schedule opens up. I know, there's probably not a lot of people in Brendan's line of work looking for stuff in, the middle of November when it's snowing in Kansas.
Okay. You clearly don't know Kansas very well.
Does it not snow?
Not very frequently. In November, the high, you're going to be looking at 68, and the low, generally 45.
You see, I don't understand weather.
And sunny. A little bit of breeze.
You see, I don't understand weather because all I know is Florida equal hot.
You can wear T-shirts and shorts outside if you want.
In 68?
Do you not know what 68 is?
Dude, I wear jeans and a f***ing sweatshirt. Chara Bunny.
All right, Chara Bunny me.
Dude, I'm from Florida. What do you expect?
Expecting not to
Well, this has been a fun episode. We hope you all enjoy it. Make sure to follow all the socials down below. We appreciate you joining us. Take care, everyone.